Hello, I am Susan Magee. I am an instructor of communication in the Department of Communication here at Drexel University. I teach the electronic and digital publishing course, both to undergraduates and graduates. And in that capacity, I've helped many students create very professional online blogs and personal websites. So I am here to give you some advice for creating your personal website in order to showcase your work portfolio, your CV, resume, and your bio, and anything else that you feel is relevant to share with a potential employer. The first decision that you have to make is what platform you're going to choose to create your website on. I personally have used, out of the very popular ones, and this is a comparison chart that I found online, and I look at these from time to time to make sure I'm not missing anything. But I have personally used Wix, and I have used Weebly, and I know students have used Squarespace and that they have really liked it. I haven't used that myself. The other platform that is very popular and very widely used and that I have a lot of experience with is WordPress. Now, WordPress originally is known for being a very good blogging platform. Students tell me they've tried blogging on Wix and Weebly and they did not like it as much as they liked WordPress and or Blogger. I'm really not familiar with the Blogger platform at all, so I take their word for it. Now, WordPress has been getting much more functional in terms of just being functioning as just a website. So really, WordPress is ideal, especially if you want to have a personal website with a blog with it. So that would be a really good choice for you. You can definitely do kinds of more, like with Wix and Weebly, you can do slideshows, you can do like the zooming in effects. And WordPress is not quite as feature rich and customizable as Wix is. But students tell me ultimately that they feel that it's a bit easier to use once they kind of learn their way around the way that the platform works. So I am going to frame the rest of my discussion on themes and domains and getting started on WordPress. However, the advice that I'm giving you is really applicable to any of the sites that you, or any of the platforms you might choose to create your personal website. The first thing that you will do when you go to create a website is you have to establish an account. Now, during that process, they're going to ask you some questions. And the first question they're going to ask is, what do you want to use this for? You don't actually have to answer the question if you don't want to, but you can. And clearly, you want to say that you want to create a website. Now, for WordPress, I would advise you not to say that you are creating a portfolio, because portfolio to WordPress is going to mean something that looks more like, let me go to all here. It's going to look something more like this, where there's going to be a lot of images, and that's fine, except for the fact that if you are going to use something that has a lot of images to display your work, it really should be because you're a photographer or you have a lot of visual work, because every image would have to be filled in with your work. So for WordPress, I would just choose website. It really actually doesn't matter, but I mean, ultimately you can change it later. You can switch templates. They're all very flexible. You can create an entire website and then go in and change the theme. It really is not a problem. The next thing that you're going to have to decide, though, and make a decision on is about a domain name. So as you're signing up, they're going to prompt you to choose a name for your website. Most people go with their name. So I would be here, or what it is. So for this, in this case, I chose a blogging professor at WordPress.com. Now, if I wanted to have my own domain, I would have to purchase that. So it would be a bloggingprofessor.com or .org or .net. So what my advice ultimately to undergraduates and graduate students alike is that if you were going to be using a website, creating a website, and using it to market yourself to potential employers, you absolutely must buy a domain. They're not that expensive, and it is definitely worth it. You definitely do not want to be contacting employers and have it have the WordPress.com at the end. Now, having said that, it is perfectly acceptable to wait and to do your domain later. And that way, if you decide to leave WordPress and go to Wix or vice versa, you don't have to go through the hassle of transferring your domain. Not that it's such a big deal, but it is an extra step. So it's perfectly acceptable to wait until you're actually out there looking for, actively seeking employment to do the domain. The other decision that you have to make is to go with a free template or purchase a template. Now, my advice to that is start with free. You can always upgrade. But this one is actually pretty good, and it's $5. But you don't really know how much better it is until you've actually used it, right? So what I would recommend doing is searching by free, and then you can look at the free ones. Now, here's my advice for picking out a template. Consider this, again, whatever photographs are here in the templates, you are going to have to customize and put your own photograph in. So something like this, where it's the whole overlay is really a photograph, I would really avoid that unless I was a photographer and I was showcasing something of my own work. If you're not, very visual and you don't like to work with graphic design or anything like that, I would stick to something super simple. Like this one would be perfectly good. You can replace the pencil with your own picture. This one I like as well. Because you can put in your own icon or like site logo, and then you obviously would have to deal with this picture. This one as well, I like this. You can again tweak that there, and then you can change the picture to match thematically with what you're doing. I also like this one. This one is pretty good for if you don't really want to have to change the picture and you want to use something that's kind of professional. Although my advice is you should really customize the site and change the picture. Okay, so in part 2, I will be back and I will talk about actually how to activate the template and turn a WordPress blog site into a website. It's pretty easy.